Hello, welcome to Pod Maverick After Dark. I'm Kirk Henderson, joined by Josh Bowe. We are coming to you. It's about 10:15 on Saturday, January 31st. The Dallas Mavericks just played what felt like their 15th nationally televised game. This one against the Houston Rockets. They lost 111 to 107 in what was, of course, a shockingly close game. Given sort of the talent differentials on these two teams. I don't know I don't know where we should start. Josh, how are you?
I'm good. We should start with Cooper Flagg, the sixth best player in college basketball this season. Had another fantastic game. So we should start with Cooper. That's probably going to be our podcast for the next 3 months. We should start with Cooper.
So I just got tagged Kelly Iko of I think The Athletic. Yahoo Sports, excuse me. Quotes Jason Kidd. This is Jason Kidd cursing to look cool, and I'm going to make fun of this because I don't fucking care. Jason Kidd on the criticisms of playing Cooper Flagg at point guard. I don't give a fuck about the criticism. You guys write that bullshit. I've done this. I've played the game at a very high level. I know what the fuck I'm doing, but I don't give a fuck what you guys write. Liar! Whatever. That was an awesome game. Cooper played really fun basketball. He is figuring out the decision tree stuff. It takes a while to size guys up and figure out where you fit in any sort of athletic game. And we're past the midway point in the season, and Flagg knows exactly what he's capable of doing in any given possession. I mean, we were talking about this in the Slack. I think that Luka's rookie season had higher highs, but what Flagg is doing on a consistent growth level, game in and game out, is more surprising to me. And that might be just because I was more familiar with Luka's game coming in and had pretty high expectations. But watching Flagg game to game, it's like, oh my goodness, this is the Raptors opening doors type thing.
Yeah. Also, Luka was a pro. He literally won the Spanish league, and he literally won the MVP of the second best professional basketball league in the world before he played an NBA game. So yeah, well, his rookie season was incredible. He had an incredible rookie season. I mean, there was definitely some because we both talked about Luka, we were like, this is the best prospect since LeBron. It's not even close. And Cooper is now right up there. And again, we talked about how his trajectory in high school and then going into college was he's a defense first, offense second guy, and here he is scoring back-to-back 30-point triple-doubles, or not triple-doubles, 30-point double-doubles. His scoring polish is just, this is outrageous. The efficiency and the smoothness in which he's able to score, all while he doesn't really it's better. The jump shot's better. It's better than it was, in October and in November, but still not there. And he's doing all of this with teams knowing, hey, let him shoot jumpers. The fact that teams are if there is a scouting report on Cooper, it's don't let him go left. Don't let him drive into the paint, force him to shoot long shots. And he's going against one of the best defenses in NBA. He's going against one of the best defenders in the league, and Amen Thompson. And he's still getting into the paint, and he's still scoring. He's still getting to the spots that he wants to go to. That, to me, when the other team knows what you want to do and they can't stop you from doing it, that's a superstar, right? And he's 19. So that's kind of my takeaway. Amen Thompson is really good. I love Amen Thompson.
I actually
fans him scoring 34 points on efficient numbers against him is incredible.
Well,
I know Amen's not on him every time, but still.
I wrote actually a whole section because Amen Thompson, to me, was why the Rockets won that game. He was everywhere. His hands were on everything. Deflections are a stat that I don't know if you can find until maybe after, significantly after the game. But this guy got his hand on so many balls against the Mavericks, just here and there and everywhere. And the fact that, yes, he did bother Cooper, but you bothered him to the tune of, what was it? You said 34 points and 12 rebounds and 5 assists.
Yeah, on 25 shots. Like
that the shot total was actually what was so surprising to me, because at one point he was like he had 14 points on 13 shots. Because I was paying attention to this.
Started slow. I mean, he went nuclear in the fourth.
Yeah, George Bush, nuclear.
Yeah, nuclear.
Oh man, what a and it's so fun. Jack, who's been on the podcast here a few times. I appreciate when we bring new people on that remind us, like, that are still game to game 82 game watchers. And him and our other new guy Joe are still very, like, they want the Mavericks to win every stinking game. Even now. And I love that energy, because the Mavericks are in all of these games. I mean, this was their 33rd or 34th clutch game. They just don't have enough. You know, I felt they've sold some elements of previous games where they gave up things they shouldn't. Against the Rockets tonight, where they lost primarily was at the free throw line, where they missed 11. I mean, they shot 34, 35, 36 free throws. I should have the stats up.
20. They shot. They're 15 and 26.
Sorry. Yes, they missed, but they did miss 11. Yes.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
They missed 11.
Sorry about that. I'm an idiot. And then the offensive rebounds in the third quarter alone, I think, really bit them, because they had done a pretty good job controlling the Rockets on the offensive glass in the first half. But, you know, the other team shot 16 more times. Like, that, it's just hard to win when they get that many more extra looks at points.
Yeah, they lost the turnover battle and they lost the offensive rebound battle. So they lost the possession game. And they didn't lose the turnover battle by a ton.
Bad, but it's the little margins adding up to the point of 16 extra shots plus 11 missed free throws.
But at the end of the day, like, they only had 11 turnovers, which is great for them, but they had 5 more turnovers than the Rockets did. So they couldn't generate turnovers on the other end to make up the difference. Plus the offensive rebounds. And then they missed free throws. Yeah, you're going to lose. That's hard. The offensive rebound's a little disappointing, because, you know, the Rockets are, I mean, they're still a great offensive rebounding team. That's their identity. I mean, like, that's how they score. Like people, like, you know, national NBA people have been trying to be like, this is crazy that this is like a top 5 rated offense and they can't shoot. And they have no point guards really. And it's because they simply just crash the glass at an unbelievable level. So much of that was Steven Adams, and he's out for the season. So the fact that they were still able to do that tonight, is good for them, for the Rockets, bad for the Mavericks. Like, you know, they weren't able to keep them off the glass, even, you know, the Rockets missing their best rebounder. You know, like PJ Washington played 25 minutes, and before he left the game, he had 2 defensive rebounds in 25 minutes. That's not going to cut it from him. Unfortunately, I don't know if we want to go right to PJ, because he's been in a terrible funk ever since he kind of had those ankle issues, and now he leaves this game with another injury. They called it head contusion, but I'm like, is that
a concussion?
That sounds like concussion to me. So they weren't able to keep the Rockets off the glass.
Yeah, the injuries also. The injuries are worth touching on here just for a bit, because
two pretty crucial injuries.
Brandon Williams got hurt. And then obviously the aforementioned PJ Washington. This was actually, like, it's funny. PJ had 3 really, really bad turnovers. The rebounding, obviously not good, but it's like offensively, I felt like his game was a little better. Poor guy. He just, it's so funny, because the numbers with him and Cooper, somebody, I think it was Panda Hank, showed some numbers about him and Cooper together. And, like, the numbers did not look good for PJ, but I remember thinking earlier in the season, these two really worked together. And now it's just I guess he's willing to give the ball to Flagg, which I want to give him credit for, because one of the things I feel like that is different than in Luka's rookie year is I think a lot of these veterans have realized that Cooper's the guy and they got to get out of the way. That did not happen with Harrison Barnes and Wesley Matthews.
Well, let's see if Anthony Davis was still healthy. Would you still be saying that?
You're right. But the other guys have sort of figured out.
No, you're right. Yeah.
PJ at least sort of being a willing conduit to this. I don't feel like he's taking anything off the floor intentionally, which can't necessarily be said. You know, I think that the guys are trying their best to make sure that Flagg is, you know, they're getting the ball and get out of the way, because he's frankly just their best offensive player right now. PJ is important, though. PJ is a good basketball player. We've seen stretches from him like this before where he just disappears for 10 or 15 games. I hope he kind of figures out whatever's going on with him, because the Mavericks can't move him. Like, he's going to be a part of the regular rotation. Just kind of a given from there.
Well, yeah, and I think, when you look at the team and you're like, okay, who stays, who goes? Like PJ isn't like blue chip young anymore. He's 27.
Yeah.
But he fits, you could play him and Cooper at forward with another big, and that makes sense for Cooper. That doesn't take away from Cooper having another defensive forward so that Cooper doesn't always have to take the best assignment defensively. Someone else that can do some of the dirty work, which PJ has kind of embraced since he's been in Dallas doing some of the dirty work. Like he fits, like he doesn't block despite, he's 27, so he's not necessarily going to fit the timeline. Cooper's going to be, when Cooper's 25, like is PJ even going to be on this roster? Probably not. Or he's going to be aged out. But like, I don't see the urgency to move on from him in terms of, is he blocking what we want to do around Cooper? He's paid reasonably well. He plays a very important position of need. Like you just look at the trade market right now. Like teams could use wings. I mean, the Sacramento Kings just made a really dumb trade because there's just not that many wings available with size. So they take on DeAndre Hunter, who is like, just not very good, but he's also a wing with size that could do stuff theoretically. So yeah, like PJ makes a lot of sense. He's locked into a pretty friendly contract. If he plays how he's supposed to play, if he plays like he's played the last month or so, then that's rough. But yeah, like the other guys, you can make an easier case, like why they need to move on from them at this trade deadline or in the off season. But but PJ, he kind of fits. I think he accentuates what Cooper can do, not take away.
Yep. Then, so the Brandon Williams injury, obviously, we hope he figures it out.
He was killing it tonight too.
He was really playing well. Just the Rockets had no real answer for his speed. He had a couple of giant killers. I kind of hate calling them those shots. That only like the replays of a number of his floaters were so high in there.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. But his injury was sort of telling in that, you go to the roster and, once again, D'Angelo Russell, DNP, Jaden Hardy, DNP. There was a one little news and note in a Hoops Hype column earlier today that, if like the Mavericks are obviously still trying to move Russell, and that he would probably, like, if there's like a 3-team deal that they can sneak him in to move on from him, they will do so in a hurry. Like just a truly fascinating signing and error. It's obviously it was a Nico Harrison decision, kind of Nico Harrison on his own, very clearly, based on how Kidd has treated him. But
from day one too.
And I never would have expected this. I don't think this is where it's just like, if there's a lot of chatter that we're just going to kind of continue to talk about, Kidd's sort of mini crash out yelling at DLS's Ron Harold tonight is indicative of this. Kidd must have an inside track on the general manager job. Tim McMahon, when asked point blank if that was the case by Locked On Mavs Isaac Harris, it was like a 7-second pause before McMahon would answer the question, because I don't think he knew how to, because it was a point blank, is this good? And he was like, "That's an interesting idea, Isaac."
Doesn't want to give away the bag just yet.
Well, it's like Kidd clearly has an inside track on this position. He must have realized that it's a lot less work than the day-to-day of coaching, which it probably is, all things considered.
It's also usually it's a more secure.
It's such a fascinating thing to me. It's like he's so involved in the Luka trade, and everybody and their uncle's like, no, and with Dallas is like, no, he wasn't. Well, Luka doesn't talk to you, so yeah, you are. Sorry, the end. But it's just he's sort of feeling himself right now, and the things that they're doing with this roster, like they are playing that they have been institutionally tanking for some time now. Game in and game out, all the players are still trying their asses off. But like when you don't play a real point guard and get behind, even if Flagg is playing point guard minutes, the numbers are just there. It's like you keep losing first quarters and then you lose the game. Like it's right there for everyone to see. You eventually lose the game by single possessions after getting whooped in the first.
But I'm curious, do you think if he played D'Angelo Russell 15 minutes a night instead of doing point Flagg, that they would be winning more with how Russell has looked this season?
I think that's fair. That's a fair point.
I kind of agree with you, but I feel like he has the perfect alibi because it's like he's played everyone and the team is still.
And don't get me wrong. I don't want to see Russell. I don't want to see Russell. I don't want to see Hardy. Like, given his dearth of options in the position, it's working out, but it's just like, this is an institutional decision where it's like, we're going to try every night and we're likely going to lose just because at the talent around that, like, hard work will only get you so far. You can steal the occasion. Like, this is a great Daniel Gafford game statistically, but impact wise, there are just moments in the game where you're like, Gafford gave up huge. Like, he tied the game. No, he didn't. He pulled them within 2. And if he's isn't on the floor, that doesn't happen. But then it's his fault for giving up that bucket after the the flag drive at 14 seconds, and then the basically the game sealing basket. He wasn't back. He was like at the 3-point line doing whatever, not even guarding the basket. It's the weird things happen with Daniel all the time, and it's just he's just not quite good enough. And that's the ultimate alibi where the Mavericks have a pretty good team that is not quite good enough to make any dent at this point in the regular season. Like, they are going to continue to win some games. Like, it wouldn't shock me they play the Spurs twice soon. It wouldn't shock me if they steal one of those just because of how hard they play, like we keep talking about.
Yeah, maybe. I did also predict after they beat the Warriors that they wouldn't lose again until February. Until February. And they lost every game since I tweeted that. So I don't know. I can't get every time I think this team is like, I think they're going to go on a run, they lose. And then when I think they're going to lose a lot, they go on a run.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but they're going to be close. And you're right. Like, yeah, they're just missing. I mean, they're missing a playmaker. I mean, that's what they're missing. Like, Cooper is doing a really good job with the tools that he has, and he might be even better next season. I mean, good Lord, he had 5 assists. He only had 2 turnovers despite taking 25 shots and being like the only guy that could do anything with the ball tonight.
Yeah.
They just desperately need a point guard. It's hard to win in the NBA without a point guard, man. If there's one thing we could take away from this season, 2 things. Cooper Flagg's awesome, and point guards are important. I think if there's nothing else you learn from this NBA Mavericks season, that would be it.
Let's take a quick break, then we'll come back, wrap it up. I'll have a Mavs party or group therapy if folks want it tonight. We ended up having a great.
Might be a Mavs party considering how
we had a great show. We had a great show the other night. Like, I never know what to expect, and that one went on for an hour and 20 minutes. Had a lot of good, fun comments. Got a couple of folks who hadn't gone on before, so it's like I like hosting these things that people are interested in talking. My wife decided she's going to go to bed early, so I have time as much as I would like to play Arc Raiders. So we'll cut to break here. We'll talk for a few more minutes, and then we'll close up this show and bring on the next show. So remember the 3 ways to support the show, quite literally links in our show notes if you're feeling generous. Listen to the ads and tell your friends. Can't emphasize that part enough. Tell your friends. Actually ran into a listener today at my son's basketball game. That was fun. That was just, I like running into people in public. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, we are back. Tough Najee Marshall game. And I think we talked about it a little bit. -18 for him. All the missed free throws, all the missed bunnies. It's so funny. He had been an Iron Man up until when they gave him rest against Charlotte. And then he's been kind of And, it just is kind of a weird thing. You get into, if you mess with the guy's groove, sometimes things like this happen. Just an odd situation, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the win streak preceding this losing streak, and then look at the losing streak, I mean, there's almost a direct correlation to Najee's performance. Like, you look at the win streak and like that Golden State game, he had 30 points on 12 shots. Those 2 Utah games, he was phenomenal. The Knicks game, like, his shooting doesn't look good, but if you watch that game, he was very good in that Knicks game. He just took a bunch of shots in the second half when the game was over. That he missed, but he was really good in that first half when they built the 30-point lead and they basically ended the game there. And then you look like he was pretty meh against the Lakers. Like, he's getting the numbers. Like, he's 21 points against the Lakers, 18 points against the Wolves, but shooting efficiency just not there like it normally is for him. I mean, this is a guy that's shooting almost 60% from the floor like for the last month, and he's been 46, 50, now 27 in his last 3 games. So and again, this is a Mavericks team that any even with everyone firing on all cylinders, this is probably not a good offensive team. So when you already come with that baseline, and then a guy like Najee struggles, it's only going to pull everything else down. And I mean, the Mavericks still scored. They didn't score enough because they missed a lot of free throws, but like they still scored 58 points in the paint. They made the threes that they did take. They didn't take a lot, and they shot 45% from the floor. So it's kind of crazy how competitive they were in this game, despite Najee giving them nothing. PJ gave them nothing. Brandon Williams gets hurt in the first half, doesn't come back. Caleb Martin plays 17 minutes and scores. Like it's you look at the box score, and it was, I mean, this was kind of an heroic Cooper Flagg game. I mean, if you really look at it, he was really the only one besides Gafford doing anything. So yeah, it's a rough night. The Rockets are good, but the Mavericks play them really well because I think the Rockets have some really fatal flaws. They're going to show up in April if they don't make a trade. Which
the little white dude point guard that they have,
Shepard,
he's not hitting shots. Like his shots tonight look like he was blind. If he's not hitting shots, they don't have much. I mean, Durant's obviously watching him shoot the basketball is just it's just amazing. Frankly, it's like watching Dirk and like a Joel Embiid. I know that's going to sound weird to some people, but those three guys just have such pretty shots. And I after that though, it's weird. You got Tari Eason, who they don't play that much, even though he shoots 47% from three.
I think that's an injury because he gets hurt all the time. So I think they're trying to keep him healthy.
Ahmed Thompson just can't shoot from the outside. Sengun, he was a non-factor this year in games against the Mavericks, just more or less. He got it going a little bit tonight, but the Mavericks sort of made him look silly. He's just an odd player. He's quite good. It's not what I mean, but it's if I was to only judge him based on these Mavericks performances, I would think he's sneaky. So it's a good comment. You keep saying this, but Ash Boying here is noting it too. This is the Josh take as well. Houston could use a Kyrie.
I'm not saying that should happen. The Mavericks should do it, but it is the most no-brainer trade in the NBA right now. It is wild how much Kyrie would fix pretty much every. I would if Houston traded for Kyrie. I mean, obviously we don't know what Kyrie's going to look like when he comes back.
But
if he could come back, if he could come back at 70% of himself, if the Rockets did that, they would be probably the third best team in the NBA, the second best team in the NBA, and they're already pretty good,
right?
But yeah, it's a crazy no-brainer trade that I think won't happen just because I don't think the Mavericks have a desire to do it, and Houston doesn't seem to be in a hurry, despite trading for 38 whatever-year-old Kevin Durant. They just seem like they're just kind of moving along with internal development, but we'll see. The trade deadline is a funny beast, so we'll see if something changes. But yeah.
So I lost my box score. All right, here's my box score. Okay, so the schedule. So trade deadline is Thursday. Sorry, this stuff gets away from me in a hurry sometimes. The Mavericks, the upcoming schedule just through All-Star, and there's roughly 2 weeks. The All-Star weekend starts Friday, February 13th. Cooper Flagg will be involved in that, but this is a Mavericks schedule up until then. Tuesday, Boston, Thursday, San Antonio, Saturday, San Antonio, then Phoenix, Los Angeles, and then All-Star break.
Yeah. If management had ideas about wanting to see this through, things might look a little different on the tail. I mean, they will not be favored to win any of the games before All-Star break.
No, that doesn't mean they won't win one of them.
No, right. But yeah,
it's very funny. Luka's gotten it going mad since the Mavericks game. But it's you look ahead to the schedule, and I really recommend that everyone does this. Dallas has what are they? They are 5-16 on the road. Okay. That is under 25%. They play most of their remaining games on the road.
Yeah, because they played their first 45 games. It felt like
math right now because I'm just not really here for it. They played 49 games, and that would be 21. Let's just do the math here. If I get out the old calculator, 49 minus 21. So they played 28 home games, and you get 41 of each. So they have 13 left at home. Let's see here. It's 82 minus 49, 33. So they got 18. No, that can't be right. Whatever. They have a ton left.
They have more road games
left on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they've only played 21, they have something in the neighborhood of like 20 road games left.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And they can't win on the road. So it's not hard to figure that out. Oh my God. I mean, look at their February and March, the road games. I mean, they play 1, 2, 3. They have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have a 6-game road trip in February, and then they have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then they have 8 of 9 on the road stretch in March.
Mm-hmm.
That's
that one sucks. Like they'll win some of those games just because, but it's like good gravy.
And then the one home game in that 8 of 9 stretch is Cleveland.
Well, and
like a good team.
All right, so that Milwaukee game got rescheduled till the end of March. That's going to be just another brutal one. That like it adds. Man, they just got a lot going on here. Okay, so I think that should be it. We'll close it out here. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'm going to post the group therapy show here in a second. Please consider going and giving that a read. We had a lot today and tomorrow over at Mavs Moneyball. We actually had a lot. Like I was joking. I tuned in Friday night just to check our group Slack, and I had 3 different posts turned in. Our guy Chris turned in a pro and con of Najee Marshall trade. We have a really fun article going up in the morning about how our guys who, when they watch the draft, we have 4 or 5 guys that love college basketball. And we asked the question on our kind of group chat this week, like, how do you watch and what are you watching for and why? And I got 1,500 words in response. So if you need a Sunday read on that, these guys did a really nice job just sort of explaining, because everybody should be turning their attention to the draft. AJ Devanza played Darren Peterson today, and Darren Peterson had a dunk that reminded me of UCLA Baron Davis. And if you don't know UCLA Baron Davis, if you only remember old fat Baron Davis or don't remember Baron Davis at all, go to the old YouTube, because Baron Davis was a force of fucking nature. There are a couple of goofy comments today. Jamal Mashburn said that he thinks Cooper Flagg would be the 6th best freshman in the country. Really funny thing to say after he scored 83 points through 2 games. And then Udonis Haslam on NBA Prime coverage said that he would take VJ Edgecombe over Flagg and Knipple because VJ Edgecombe is a 2-way player.
That one I hate because I like VJ Edgecombe.
Like, I love VJ Edgecombe. So like, Cooper's better.
I know, but when we have to address, like when you talk about it, it's like, oh well, you're a hater, and it's like, no, I think Edgecombe is awesome. Edgecombe is in the best situation for any of these rookies. Oh, absolutely. He's by far on the best team. So, I mean, they're going to make the playoffs and they're going to be fun. I mean, even Knipple's situation is better than Flagg's, really, if you think about it. Like LaMelo Ball is a good point guard, but even if you hate him, like, sure, he doesn't like Cooper, like the responsibility level on Cooper and like the pressure on him, like he does, it's hard to play without a point guard. And Cooper is the only one of those 3 doing that, because Edgecombe has Maxey, Knipple has LaMelo Ball, Cooper has Brandon Williams and Ryan Nembhard, who are fine players, but it's just not close. That's right. Okay, well, we'll talk about that stuff if we need to. We know this is just post-game stuff. Everybody, hang around for group therapy and join the show if you want to. I already posted the show in the show notes. I'm going to cut to a quick break here, and we will then be right back. Josh, thanks so much. Have a good night. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pod Mavericks Group Therapy. I'm Kirk Henderson, editor-in-chief over at MavsMoneyball.com. This is our second post-game show where you can come here and talk a little bit of basketball.
We already got 4 people waiting. Show is live. We're excited. We're ready to talk about basketball, even though the Mavericks are losing. Remember, the way this show goes is if I don't recognize somebody, I'm going to try to bring them up first because I value this fan participation. Though those of you who are here night in and night out, you know that I very much am glad that you are here. So right now, it looks like I've seen everybody before, so we're going to roughly go in order. Patrick, what's up, dude?
Hello, good evening. So I very passively watched the second half of this game, so I don't have a lot to say about this game in particular, but there was something from last game that I want to talk about. But before that, I'm going to do a little tiny remember that Mav thing, and it's a tangential thing, and we're not even going to talk about the guy on the Mavs, but Baron Davis. He went to high school in West Los Angeles,
yes,
and I had an indoor volleyball league when I lived out there. And we played at this high school's gymnasium, and they had like a shrine to Baron Davis. I don't know. I may have mentioned this on the show before. I don't know. But they have like a little. They won the state championship, or they must have, maybe back to back, or like something enough to give him a shrine. But also, former Maverick Austin Crozier was on the high school team with him.
I think I remember this now that you're saying it out loud. Okay.
Yeah, that's all I got about remember that Mav. As for a point about the actual existing Mavericks. So Musa Cisse, I didn't, again, pay attention to this game, but last game, one thing that I noted about him is he has fantastic discipline on not biting on every single pump fake to try to get a block or like fouling players. Like he stays on the ground pretty well. And it reminds me a lot of when Maxey was good at basketball, when he played basketball and when he was on the Mavs. Like the first half of his come up on the Mavericks was Maxey has discipline and knows exactly when to time his blocks. So I like to see that out of Musa.
Did you hear the stat that they threw out about Musa during the game?
No. What do you got?
So he apparently had a high school game where he had 22 blocks.
Jesus Christ. I don't know what like the exchange rate on that is. Like when NBA players are like, yeah, I dropped 75 and it's like, okay, it's like 25 in the NBA.
Think about how many shots are in a high school game. Like maybe 50. Because
they're scoring like 60 points or something. Jeez, yeah. So I think this was a good game for trying to get a Gafford trade happening in the next week. And I don't know if I'm fully on board of this, but like, is it a failure if we don't do any of not of a season? Because obviously this is about just getting a draft pick, getting Cooper, getting the fans to be excited about the team again. But in terms of an organization, I think it's a failure if you don't make a trade, especially Gafford, because I feel like Musa can become Gafford, and this is the best that Gafford's ever going to be. He's 27. I don't think he's going to really develop any other skills like an outside shot or anything like that. And he's not on Cooper's timeline. So, by the time Cooper is 23, Gafford's on the wrong side of 30 as a big man that doesn't do anything other than be strong. And so I think Musa can just fill those shoes for the rest of the season. Well, aside from the whole he can't play every game thing, but sure. I'm thinking long term as well. Musa can fill the Gafford shoes, especially if we can get like a mid to late first round pick or something like that, or even slight cap relief and a later pick.
The dirty little secret that I don't really particularly like talking about because it's math and it's cap stuff is the Mavericks have to get out from some of the money that they have. Otherwise, the offseason is going to be shit. They can't if they do nothing. The guys that all make money now. So you got Cooper Flagg, Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford. All those guys' salary goes up. Every single one. There's not anybody coming off the books that I can think of. And all that money goes up. And then all of a sudden you're over the second apron. Like we're already effectively hard capped in that the Mavericks have to take in less money in every single trade. But if you go over that second apron, you also can't move draft picks. You become like literal cap hell. So my answer to the question of yes, it will be a failure if they don't move off somebody in a fucking hurry. Like they need to be moving off of things as soon as possible. Now, individual players, I'm less they can't trade or they should trade. Gafford is his extension kicks in next season where he goes from like 13 or 14 now to 20. So I just sort of think it would be smart of them to trade him sooner rather than later, just for the because it's probably easier. It was a good game from him statistically, though he had still had some boofs. I don't know, like at this point in guys' careers, you know what guys are. You're not tricking a GM with a good game. Is sort of where I'm at with this. So we'll see what they do. It's a good question though.
And then final thing, just because I did mention Maxi Kleber, this has got to be his last season in the NBA. So,
oh yeah, every time I see Maxi, it's kind of like they did Jeff Green, where they were talking about Jeff Green because he's on the Rockets. This is like his 19th season, and he's played. They said he's played with more teammates than anyone in NBA history, and like Maxi, well, obviously nothing like that. Maxi has been around so much longer than I would have envisioned for a guy who came over as an undrafted free agent.
Yeah, at like 25 years old.
Yeah. He's already an older guy when they got him. That's right.
Yeah, so happy sailing or whatever that phrase is that they use when teams get kicked out of the playoffs.
That's right.
To Maxi, I wonder if he'll go back to Europe or if he'll just hang it up. But I really don't see him getting another contract in the NBA.
Just go be professionally handsome. Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know.
All right. Have a good one. Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm. All right, Kill Cam is next. How we doing, brother?
What's up, her? Man. First off, man, like, I didn't know Michael Conley was in the same KD draft.
Oh yeah, because he was
fourth.
Him and Greg Oden were college teammates. That was an incredible Ohio State basketball.
Dude, that is an incredibly shout out to him, man. Like, even though he's kind of this right now, like, dude, like, to be in the NBA as a 6-foot point guard, drafted in 2005. Like, dude, that is an impressive career.
Well, and he was, and I remember this because I was watching a lot of college stuff back then. He was good. He has a very, like, if you look up his family, I think both of his parents were like Olympic athletes or something, but he was still sort of seen as a kind of a Greg Oden hanger on because they went to high school together.
I understand him because he's 6 foot, so it's like you underestimate him, but like, dude, drafting in 2005 and you're still playing, like, even though you're just fine, like, that's like 15, 20 years. No, not 20, like 15.
19 years. 2005. No, 21 years. That can't be right.
Well, because wasn't KD and him drafted in 05?
No, because they were cool. See, you're asking me to do math at 11. But it's a very long time is the answer to your question. You're not wrong about the intentionality here forever.
Oh, 07.
Yeah.
07. Okay, yeah, but still, that's like I was in the first grade in 07.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's like still playing as a 6-foot point guard drafted in 2007, man, that's an achievement, man. But still, man, like, but also like, gosh, man, it sucks, man, because we need to tank, man. But it's like, God, I just see food in the West, man. Like, honestly, man, like if AD's healthy, I think we can like beat the Rockets.
This doesn't happen with AD.
And then playoffs.
The way they're playing right now doesn't happen with AD because AD won't give it up.
We're 2-0 like against my AD. I know I'm like in general, yes, but versus the Rockets specifically, I think we can beat them in a series with
a fun series
without AD, man. Because they're not impressive to me, man. Like, they're not impressive at all, man. Like, I know they're supposed to be a good team, and they are good, but they're not. Like, they're not on the.
They're not championship caliber.
Yeah, they're not on the OKC Denver level. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think they're on the Pistons level. Like, even though they're like 1-1, like them and Detroit, they're 1-1. I still think in a 7-game series, I think Detroit comes out on top because I just don't.
Steven Adams is a 20-minute-a-game guy, but in those 20 minutes, he just vacuums up offensive boards. He's important. He's important. So.
Yeah, like Durant eats that Gus alive, like against them. You know, like and Jokic will be. Oh my gosh, Jokic may legit average 20 rebounds against them.
Yep.
Yeah. So, man, like, and then this game, man, Cooper is so special. I love him so much. Gosh, Maxi, and even then, like, I think we could have won this game. There's a lot of shots that we had, especially Maxi, to where it legit like just rimmed out.
Well, the free throws or what?
No, but shots in general though.
Max, because Najee
like him, like Clay, like him, not like him, Najee, Clay, like a lot of the shots just rimmed out. I mean, I think it was just a bad luck shooting night because, like, for him to just rim out that much to where it's like you just gotta like chalk that up to just you're just unlucky tonight.
Sure.
And then also like did you happen to watch the Kansas BYU game?
I watched the first half through with things going on in my house. I what good basketball players those guys are.
Yeah, man. Like I think after watching today's college basketball, like I think all three of them are going to be superstars. But I would still take Darren Peterson one. Like he's so, like I didn't get it the injury concerns, and they said he missed the whole second half because of cramps.
I just think there's something going on there in the sense of now that everybody's a little more open and nakedly honest about what happens with this being, kind of a stepping stone to the NBA. I think he has a team of people around him, and there's an agreement that if he feels anything, if he's not in tip-top place to play, he's not going to play.
Yeah.
And I think if anything alarmed him, they rest him. And I think if you're the kind of fan where something like that concerns you, I think that's warranted and justified. But I also will tell you, when you watch this guy play,
yeah, I know he's ridiculous. Like, dude, and the crazy thing is he has a jumper. Normally guys like that usually don't need have a jumper that's this early because going to the rim is just so easy to them.
Yeah.
But the fact that he has a jumper this early with everything else, like, gosh, man. If Adam Silver just give us number one more time, we'll be set. Like, gosh, man, that dude is ridiculous.
I love it.
Yes, man. But
well, hey, you got anything else for us?
Honestly, I'm kind of rambling right now, so I think I'm out.
Hey, glad you joined. I don't know when we play again. Soon, Tuesday, I think is what it is. Tuesday, Thursday.
Yes,
so it's Boston. See you then. Okay.
See you then, yes, sir.
All right. We're just going to go through, folks, because I recognize everybody. Ash Boying, what's going on?
Well, fun fact, Clint Capella is actually a better percentage offensive rebounder than Steven Adams, if you can believe it. So I just looked it up. So I don't know that they're losing a whole lot with the Adams injury, to be honest.
I mean, but if you're able to go from one to the other, having that many guys out there for 40 of your 48 minutes, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's real good. He averages 2.3 offensive rebounds in 11 minutes a game. So yeah. I mean, that whole Houston team knows how to offensively rebound. And one of the NBA Tonight guys came up with a pretty good kind of observation about Houston not having a point guard. And what they said is, in the regular season, it's not that glaring a need because what you often have is you have Amen Thompson as your point guard.
Yeah. But
he passes the ball off to somebody and then he goes down to the dunker spot and you got this little point guard trying to play the guy in the dunker spot, and it's not a place that he's used to being down there.
That's right.
But then when you get into a 7-game series, it's something that you prepare for and that's going to happen and you're able to formulate a plan to counteract that oddity, if you will. It's kind of like playing the wishbone. If you have to play the wishbone every week, well, you're gonna get pretty good at defending it. If you only play it once a year, you're probably not going to defend it too well. So, sure. That's and like I said, Houston. I think that Houston's ideal trade would be for Kyrie and Max Christie, and all of a sudden that's a team that nobody wants to see. I mean, honestly.
Because Kyrie, there's an interesting discussion. So there's a lot of folks out there that really do want to argue that Kyrie's a pure point guard. I don't know where I fall in that debate. I think I lean towards no, but I will say that him playing point guard for you for 15 minutes a game that's an important 15 minutes. And that's kind of all the Rockets need. They don't need someone orchestrating an offense for 48 minutes for them. They need to not shit themselves for 15 or 20 minutes when things aren't going perfectly.
And they need 3-point shooting.
Yes, which Kyrie has that in spades.
Which Kyrie and Max would provide them, immediately. And if you get Max, you don't really lose your defensive integrity either. So I think that would be a perfect shot. If I'm Houston, I give up whatever I have to give up to get that trade done. Because I think that makes them a big giant factor in the Western Conference playoffs this year. But let's move to the Mavericks. So couple things that I'm seeing is, I just don't. The way that PJ is shooting this year, I don't believe he's a good fit with Cooper Flagg because you have no real good spacing. But but then again, there's not a lineup that the Mavericks can roll out there that gives you any good spacing this year, unless you want to play Max and Clay at the same time, and then that's a defensive nightmare. So, but I love PJ. I love his game, but I just don't think that the way he shoots, he fits with Cooper. To be honest with you,
I think it's fair take.
I think that again, I've said this before. Tari Eason is a perfect. Now, if he were to stay healthy, is a perfect player to play with Cooper because he can shoot the three. He's elite defensively, and he's an elite rebounder, and he does all the things that Cooper can do, but that you don't want to see him doing because you want him scoring 40 points a night. And so it probably makes the game a lot easier for Cooper to play.
Sure.
And that's the kind of guy that you're looking for. Now there's a guy right now in Texas that would probably fit very well with Cooper. That's Dalen Swain at University of Texas. Because when you look at his stats from college, they're the exact same stats Terry Eason had at LSU. And, if that guy learns to hit 37, 38% from the 3-point line, he would make the game so easy for Cooper, to be honest with you. And that's a guy that you could probably get in the early second round, and, you got Boston wanting to trade for Daniel Gafford, it sounds like, from some of the rumors I've heard. And you could probably pick up that 31st pick in the draft in a Daniel Gafford trade, plus a lot of salary cap relief.
Yeah.
So, again, when you're looking for perfect trades, that could be a perfect trade if Boston wants to pull the trigger on something like that.
Yeah.
And I could envision maybe Gafford and Thompson for Simons and that 31st pick in the draft right now. So that's just something that I've been writing down when I sit here and think, what should the Mavericks do to build their team? But I'm one of those guys that says let's just strip it all down to the pegs and get as many draft picks, first or seconds, as you can, and just start throwing darts at a board, seeing who fits around Cooper.
Yeah. That's the who fits around Cooper is the start and the end of every discussion, and the fact that it seems to be that way for the fan base, but not for the fucking front office is kind of why this is so annoying.
Well, and you had a take just the other day that that I just agreed with, wholeheartedly when you said they should just fire everybody that has anything to do with basketball decisions and just, get somebody in here that knows what they're doing and move forward. Because I mean, it just drives me crazy that there's just no action going on.
Sure.
This team is going nowhere the way they're constructed at all.
Yeah.
And they need to realize that, and they need to say, okay, look, let's take it, fans will stick with you if they see a direction or a vision. I mean, honestly, if I could see a vision here, I would love to watch this team grow to the point where they're, again, a perennial 55 win team and, making noise in the playoffs. I mean,
right.
The journey for me is what would be fun to watch.
Right.
But I just, nobody in that front office has a vision, and Dumont needs to get off his ass and say, okay, I've got to pick one guy, because the problem is you got too many voices.
I did a video about that yesterday, and it's just he went from being gaslit by Nico and isolated and one to having like a room full of people and no one cares.
And there's so much yelling that nobody hears what anybody else has to say. And so, personally, if it were me, I'd do whatever I had to do to get Dennis Lindsay in here and have one voice moving forward and, let him build a team. Now, he's had mixed success. He had pretty good success, here, but he didn't do so well in Utah. But, still, just having one voice and moving in one direction would be kind of nice.
Sure.
So, anyway, that's all I got tonight. So I will let you go and let you get on to other guests.
Sure thing. All right. Appreciate it, buddy. Talk soon. All right. I'm going to insert some ads here, and then we'll bring up Matt and Faisal and Brian, and then we'll go to bed. So I'll be right back. Matt, welcome to the show. What's going on?
So I mean, I've been thinking this entire year. It's who are we shipping off and what are we getting for them? At the beginning of the year, it's, let's trade one of PJ or Gafford and get something in return. And as the year went on, it's what actually is the value across the league. And for me, I guess my question to you is, because right now I'm thinking like Najee would obviously get a good return, and then Clay, I think with his value or his shooting would get something. So for you, who is the Maverick that is actually making decent money and valuable that's getting shipped off in the next week or two?
Oh man. I think the Klay Thompson element of this is so tricky because I think they will do what he would like. So if he wants to stay in Dallas, they're going to keep him in Dallas. I think that they understand institutionally that trading Luka was actually a pretty bad mark on the organization in terms of how players view. So shipping off another veteran of an NBA champion with that kind of pedigree, I don't think would without his say so. I don't think that looks good for anybody. I do. So it kind of comes down to sort of Gafford and PJ. Not.
But
Gafford.
do you think Gafford still? I mean, he's played awful this year. I mean, he's not healthy. His ankle's bothering him. But I don't think the way he's playing, we'd get good value for him currently.
Maybe
and
not.
So,
but he's inexpensive enough, and they just got to move some money. And I also think if he goes to a team with a reasonable point guard, he will look better.
sure, we have none.
He's a lob threat, and there's no one to throw lobs to him. So
Sure.
The fact that he has played how he has played, I don't really get upset as some people do because I don't have high expectations of him. Like tonight was a nice bonus. I thought he was going to get his ass kicked, and he did in some elements, but not, he wasn't played off the floor. So he's the guy for me where it's like 13 million backup center that can occasionally give you spot minutes. He does battle through injuries. Yes, he has had an injury, but this Mavericks training staff, maybe I shouldn't say this, but with everything that's gone on, I don't see why I should have any faith in any of those people and any of their decision making. Like everybody's hurt all the time.
I agree.
Tonight was the cleanest Mavericks injury report that we've had in like a month and a half, and there's still 4 guys who are out for the year. It doesn't make you feel great.
No. To me, though, I feel like Clay is super valuable out there. I think a team would see his gravity, regardless of his numbers and how he's shooting. Be like, this is a guy we need on our team. For me, he's the guy that needs to get traded, and I think he has the most value outside of Najee currently. Now I get what you're saying. We don't want to just ship him off without talking to him first. But for me, I think he's the guy that needs to get sent off. And I think a team like Detroit, for example, and they need shooters.
They need him. Yes.
Right. And so I just and I'd love to see Clay on a playoff team. I hate that we signed him and we just were trash since we signed him. He was supposed to be a guy to be our elite shooter. And unfortunately we traded Luka. So we did him wrong already. And I'd love to see him on a competitor. To me, I feel like he's the guy on the market that would get a return. And honestly, a first round pick, even though he's making a lot of money for what he is. I mean, what Clay does, there's 5 guys in the league with his gravity.
I mean, those 2 threes he hit in the middle of the fourth quarter kept the game reasonable. The bang shots, nobody else on the team can do that. It's
insane the shots that he can make, and even if he's shooting 30% from 3, no one's going to leave him open. And so, I just don't know what they could get for Clay. I haven't trade machined enough to understand, but But out of those, they need to make a move. They need to recruit, some assets in some way. And I think Clay, like I think he has value out there. And so I don't know. I think he might get dealt. I'd love to see him get dealt to a competitor for good value in some picks, but I just don't know. I mean, we have a lot of guys that could help really good teams to get over the hump in a better situation with a point guard because, like you said, Gafford, he struggles without a guard because we don't have one. I just don't know who's going to get dealt. So you think
Hopefully
Gafford
somebody.
still?
I just hope. I honestly have no clue. There's not any chatter, which to me either should frighten me or make me feel really good, meaning something is more possible. Because like when you hear stuff in the media, that it just is not good. You only hear stuff if it's at like the finish line. When you hear like, oh, they called and talked about someone, that doesn't mean anything. It's just it's good for your not for clicks, so it's good for those clicks, but it's not good for us for actually processing information. So
Sure.
we'll see.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I've heard nothing for Clay.
Mhm.
Like, in
That's
Clay,
because I don't think he's voiced any interest about necessarily. Like, I'm sure if a deal is on the table, they will probably go to him and say, "Hey, what do you think? Is this something you'd want to do?"
I'm just surprised there's no interest for him.
I think there is interest. It's just he makes a reasonable amount of money, but you're basically getting him for the rest of the year, and that's it. Because next year's partially guaranteed. So it's like, are you trading a real asset for 30 games of Klay Thompson?
Yeah, but like if you're a real contender, especially like again looking at Detroit, for example, I mean Clay would help tremendously, and he's been good defensively this year too. So
It's
it's,
possible, and he'd be fine on that team because he wouldn't have to like do anything.
I mean, any great team, and you throw Clay Thompson on there, it's gonna help their
You know,
offense.
I have a take in that. Like, I think the biggest problem with any sort of trades right now is that one, a lot of the really good players who could be traded are hurt. Number two, everyone in the NBA sucks. Like, do you feel good about any team? Like, I don't feel good about any team. Like, the Thunder won't pull Dort off the floor. He's a bricklaying madman and is holding them back. The Knicks suck. I don't feel good about any team. Like, this is why if like you're one of these people where the Mavericks could make the 10 seed, I want to yell at you, but I at least understand the take. It's kind of been an awful NBA season.
Yeah, well, but the flip side of that is you have to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, can we add a good player and get over the hump?
That's
Because,
true.
like the Thunder are the top dog, but again, like a lot of the role players, they don't scare me, and they almost lost last year.
Sure.
And so that's why I'd look if I'm any of these top teams and be like, can I add a really good role player into my rotation and take that next step? I mean, we look at what the Mavs did 2 years ago when they traded for PJ and Gafford, and they got to the finals because of it, right? So imagine one of these teams that are petering in that, oh, we're winning a lot of games, but we have some questions on our role players. Let's throw another good role player in there and get there. Like, let's go for it. Because why should we be scared of the Thunder? And so I don't know. The whole point, I guess, is the Mavs have a lot, like 4 or 5 guys that can make a difference for a lot of rotations, and they should have value. And I look really at Clay and Najee, and I guess Gafford, but I just don't think he's right. And teams might be a little hesitant, especially with his rebounding and defense. So
you're man, it's a good point. Well, hey man, thanks for coming on. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Talk soon. Okay. Faisal, how you doing?
Hey, Kirk, how's it going?
I am well. Thanks for joining. What's going on tonight?
I'm doing good. I had some back and forth banter with some of my friends from Houston. My friend G, for example, he used to compare Cooper Flagg to Matt Harpring at one point. So obviously he was wrong about that. But
that's those are fighting words, and I respect you for not fighting.
I didn't want to fight. He's a good friend of mine. But
Harpring was a fun player in specific circumstances, though.
Yeah, that's true. 100%.
He was horrible on the mic in Utah. I hated him as the color commentary guy.
Yeah, and he was a dirty player as well, which I don't see in Cooper as well. So I mean,
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
But on the Cooper thing, I'm watching that game, and I'm watching the last few games as well. He's so competitive, he's so talented, and it's hard to compare him to somebody. He's a mixture of a lot of players, but it almost feels like when you're watching the games, he's kind of like willing the team to kind of like catch up to his intensity. If that makes sense. And they're just not matching it for whatever reason. Like tonight's game, for example, there were several instances where they could have just kind of sealed it, got a lead, or maybe got like a little bit of a cushion towards the end. And it's like he's doing it all by himself. And I look at Jason Kidd, and even he's kind of looking clueless at times. So I don't know.
I mean, that's where the lack of dribble penetration from most of the team, like Brandon Williams, might have been helpful in that regard. I'm not sure if he would have been out there just because he's probably being picked on defensively if he wasn't hurt. But Kidd has never exactly been a last-second play genius. Though Cooper driving to his left and attempting to draw a foul, I didn't hate it. I actually thought the defense was pretty good, even though he went flying. I mean, this is just where, and I wrote this in the recap, like the Mavericks hung with the Rockets the entire game.
Yeah.
They're just not good enough. And this is where, them being 11 games under 500 or whatever it is now, it doesn't surprise anybody that's watched at least 35 of these games. It's like we've seen kind of what the Mavericks are capable of. If they shoot 40% from three, they have a pretty good chance of winning the game. Yeah. But if they don't, and then there's just so many factors that can go wrong for the Mavericks is kind of why they're just not good enough. But this one wasn't a frustrating loss for me because I had a good time. Yeah. The Minnesota game earlier this week, that was an awful game because it never felt like they were in it. So it's as long as these games are like competitive in a way where I feel like I'm seeing some growth from Flagg, and to an extent Max Christie, that's really all I'm looking for.
No, I agree with that. But just on the trade deadline coming up next week, it's almost like they have to surround him with talent, yes, but also I feel like they need to find, like if this is a problem, then there's a problem with the culture, I think, and they need to find some winning culture players. Like AD's got to go. You want to keep somebody like Clay. You want to keep Kyrie because he's helping him behind the scenes. But with that being said, I feel like the more I look at it, Houston might be the team that we need to make a trade with as a trade partner. Could be for Jabari, could be for Eason, maybe one of the picks that they have. I'm not sure how likely that is, but that looks like a very suitable trade partner the more I look at it.
I get it. I mean, I like a lot of their options. I at least particularly Rockets players, but I think where the Mavericks run into issues here is their salary cap is just so high that I think they're going to have to really focus on shedding money. I have to address this comment because I think it's an interesting one to think about. One of the regular commenters, he says the Mavericks should have 5 to 7 first-round picks in the upcoming draft. One of the areas where you run into issues with the trade deadline for this year's is the fact that all of the picks are consolidated within certain teams. I mean, Houston is rushing to keep their own. Otherwise, Oklahoma City will potentially have 2 of other teams' picks. I mean, it's a real bear. And then the ability to trade those picks because of I really wish the NBA would get rid of pick protections because it really screws a lot of stuff up within trades. There's just not that many picks that can actually be moved. So it's like, I think the Mavericks should aim to get one more first-round pick. That's like my humble goal. But I don't even know if they'll be able to do that because of the way, it's like the Knicks can't trade any first-round picks. Like the Nets aren't interested in trading any first-round. Like go team by team, and you'll sort of see the trade optionality for the number of movable first-round picks is significantly lower than what you would think. And then it's like, well, what would any of those teams want to deal with the Mavericks? And the answer is probably not. And that's just sort of where we end up here. And so it was quasi related to like your thoughts on what the Mavericks were doing. I just thought it was worth bringing up because I think some fan expectation can be really high, and that's where just how stupid the NBA has allowed these trades to get results. It makes trades exciting in the moment, but then eventually the bill comes due and you might have the occasional trade deadline or draft deadline where nothing happens because everyone is hamstrung.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. just building off of Cooper will probably be the main thing to do moving forward. But they have AD, and it's kind of tricky with that situation. So it's very tricky. So I don't know how they're gonna, finagle that, because it is this team is kind of expensive for them to be this bad, and it's kind of a big thing how they're going to handle it next
Bobby
week.
Marks posted a graphic. I need to go find this. I can't. He posted a graphic of all the teams that were over, and the Mavericks were the worst one of all the teams that were over particular spending limits, and the Mavericks were the worst team by a mile.
Wow.
So it's they just have to do something. So we'll see.
We'll see. Well, that's all I got for tonight.
Hey, appreciate you coming on. Talk soon, okay?
Thank you. Take care. Have a good night.
You too. All right, we're gonna have Brian, and then we're gonna end with Zach. What's up, dude?
Yo. How's it going? Can you hear me?
I can. You sound good.
Good. Thank you.
Talk to us
Man.
about Jason Kidd, because I needed your Jason Kidd. I read the quote earlier. Cursing that felt like a stunt. He's
Oh,
like,
for
I'm
sure.
Jason Kidd, and I swear. And I'm like, look, I use the F word. That is my sword. That is my jump shot. My Kyrie Irving, crossover. I love saying the word fuck. I'm very good at it. I infuse it. Jason Kidd might be able to do that, but that sounded funny to me. Come on.
I mean, the plain read on it is, and I saw someone bring it up online. One of my mutuals, I can't remember, on Twitter, but pretty much since the 42-point Jazz game, the free throws have been a bit wonky for Cooper.
Okay.
So this has been building, and we finally, towards the end of this game, saw Cooper actually start to consistently go to the refs and say something. At the end of the game, with the play at the end, where he wanted a foul on Almond, on the drive. It wasn't really a foul, but he really wanted that because he'd been getting whacked and not getting calls all game. There was a stretch, I think, in the third when he really started to go on a run where he had 3 straight possessions. He hit floaters, got fouled. They didn't call the first 2. They finally gave him a free throw on the final one. And at the end of the game, he actually went up to the ref and said, "Hey, come on, man, that's a foul," which is something I'd never seen him do. I'd seen him complain. I'd seen him look away. I'd seen him look off the refs a couple times. Him actually going up to the refs probably let Jason Kidd know, okay, if I'm not going to get kicked out of a game, and he's not, and we all know that he's not, I need to do something. And so this is probably that something, especially if he has greater machinations for a role in the future with the team. He's like, hey, I need to make sure that I have this guy on my side no matter what, regardless of what role I'm in. So, that's what it felt like, because it was very funny to me to see him pop on Ron Harad, who was always a big, kind of a kid supporter, really, if anything. Him popping on him for that was very funny. But no, this seemed like something that was building kind of with the whole team. Everybody was frustrated.
Okay, then maybe I'm wrong. I just trust I trust Jason Kidd in a way. The phrase I would use is not at all. So
I trust that bald bastard as far as I can throw him. This is absolutely a stunt. You're right, but
because he that man never got ejected on Luka's behalf. He very rarely bitched about the refs on Luka's behalf. He keeps his money close to the vest. He's very much the Dave Chappelle holding his money thing. That's right. Jason Kidd. He's always looking for the next thing. I'm not very interested in him talking about how he knows what he's doing when he is an under 500 coach. When you remove the 2 Luka Doncic seasons, which were 50-win seasons, the Giannis Bucks teams were mid-ass. Congratulations for making him play point guard, but it's you didn't win.
Yeah, him referencing I think the funniest part of all that wasn't even I know what I'm doing, is I build players, referencing Cooper and Allen and referencing Giannis. Then it's okay, dude, let's go ask Larry fucking Sanders how that construction goes when you build players. Let's go ask him about that, and some of those other players that were young on those Bucks teams. Just
incredible.
Yeah,
I don't know. Whatever.
It was whatever. It made me laugh, but I was
so I got to ask you though. All right, because you're our resident. I throw trades and shit against the wall guy at Mavs Moneyball just because you just kind of want to see what's possible. Mm-hmm. So on DLLS, somebody just tweeted that Stein's making it sound like the Mavericks aren't moving anyone. They can't do that. They can't move no one. They can't, and I'm not talking about in terms of like, oh, we need to worry about assets. They can't be this expensive. They can't.
They can't financially support a team that is playing and performing this poorly in the standings and as expensive as this team is. There's no owner on fucking earth that is going to pay into the second tax apron of the luxury tax.
Their tax bill
for a
this year
team
is
that can't
$30
win
million.
40 games.
It is $30 million this year, and it jumps to $90 million if nothing changes next season. They're not paying an extra $120 million to be a lottery team.
No.
Like,
No.
I don't understand this. And it's like, look, Stein is my guy. Okay. He is kind to me. He likes and actually checks out our work. So I'm not going to kick him about this. He's only doing insofar as what he's able to report. But there has to be a more honest conversation from outlets that are not fan-based, where people do this for their jobs, about how fucked up this would be if the Mavericks left this trade deadline with the same salary that they have right now.
We won't get it. I love Stein. I respect his work. I do not respect the stance that he himself, this isn't like team stuff, he himself has held all season long, where, you know, you probably just take AD into the summer, you take all this stuff into the summer, you kick the can, you probably get better offers.
Kicking the
That's
Jared points out, but Jared points out, he's like, okay, they can make trades, you know, which is essentially from the NBA finals, like once the season's quote over. But at that point, you are getting pulled over the coals by
who do you know that's
team.
making 4 fucking trades on draft day?
That's
Who's
right.
doing
That's
that?
where it's coming from here. It's almost like I feel insane. Like, they are so fucked financially. And I've mentioned this for several pods, where if Luka was still on the team, we would be having these oh fuck conversations too, because they just like the financial bill always comes due. And like, you watch the Boston Celtics break up a potential multi-title winning team because of money. What about a team that isn't winning shit?
Right.
Like, why would
Oh no, dude. It feels like I'm going insane. It feels like I am throwing a rock into the water and I'm watching the ocean spit the rock back up into the sky every time
It's
people
like,
tell me.
And for example, we have a lot of people that really love Najee Marshall.
Me
I
too.
also like Najee Marshall. They can't. Every dollar. If they were to sign Najee Marshall to the exact same deal again when it was up, with whatever their salary cap rate would be, they would be paying a repeater tax dollar for dollar over that. So it's like, if you sign him to a $1 million deal, his actual salary would cost the team something like $3 million. Like, it's absurd. So do that based on an actual NBA salary where Najee Marshall should probably be making 14 to 18 million a year. You're not paying that.
Like, and even setting the money stuff aside, look, man, Najee Marshall was an undrafted dude who busted his ass, improved on his skills, made the roster, made the cut, made himself a name, and carved out a role for himself in New Orleans. Finally got a real payday coming here, making $9 million a year. And this dude is like performing even better and is going to set himself up for an even bigger payday, the biggest payday of his career.
Yeah.
This right now, where he is the most motivated he could possibly be, even in the face of this withering, terrible, fucked up situation that we have as a franchise. This is the best time to sell on Najee Marshall. There will not be a better time to sell on Najee Marshall and get things back for him, get a first-round pick back for him, maybe get some additional stuff back for him. You're never going to be able to do that again. You have to do it right now. Not in the summer, not the week of the draft. Do it right now, because his value will never be higher to a team that wants to get him and potentially pay him or pay for you to give him over to them for 2 playoff runs rather than 1. And then now we have to pay this dude $18 million a year or whatever it is.
I'm sorry. I got to interrupt. Like, this is unrelated to what we're talking about, but Cooper Flagg just made the weekend, like, what's the SNL news segment? I can't remember it's called.
What was it? The news update, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it's called. And it says they just mentioned that he scored most
Weekend
points.
update.
Weekend update, whatever it is. Most points scored by a teenager. It's the black dude behind the mic, and he says, "Not a great start to Black History Month."
Okay, that's good. That's good.
That's really funny.
That's the only segment on Saturday Night Live. Whenever I do check in every couple of months or whatever,
Very
that's
funny.
still pretty consistently good. That's a good job.
Oh yeah, making fun of the news is always funny.
Oh man, yeah.
Well, it's going to be a wild couple of weeks. I think if the Mavericks play Tuesday and Thursday, so we essentially have one game between the actual trade deadline. If they do anything, be prepared to come talk about those things with me. Sound good?
1,000%.
All right. We'll talk to you later, man.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
All right. Last but not least, Zach. How you doing, Zach?
Hey, Kirk. Long time no see.
Good talking to you. How you doing?
I'm good. I live in Portland now. Last time we talked, I was in New York. So,
jeez, so completely different time zone watching the Mavs. A little easier now.
Much easier. I'm like ramping back up my fandom is what I can say. Like, I'm not gonna lie. And so this was mainly me trying to re-ingratiate myself because I was always listening, but I just couldn't bring myself to participate. I tried really hard to not be a Mavs fan, and it's just not 20 years that just doesn't just go away. Actually, just
Flagg is also really engrossing. I mean, I have mentioned Josh and I had real conversations about wrapping this the fuck up by in April before it's I don't know if we can justify doing this. The time, the fan interest isn't there. Not that we're never going to get the Slovenian guy, Mr. Doncic, provided more fan. There was just so much SEO and people finding us because that's never going to be the case with Flagg. I don't believe that's good, but he is really fun to watch, which makes, if you're going to watch 70 plus basketball games, the fact that most of them, at least so far for me, have been fun. Really, it brings you back in bit by bit, if that's the case.
Well, that's frankly what it's been, and I feel like a somewhat of a fair weather fan. That's what, but it's I actually I used to write a bunch of sports columns and actually started writing again today, for the 1 year anniversary of the Luka trade, and I kind of I just wanted to share something how My Mavs fandom, I can quantify based off shrieks, how many times I shrieked at the television, or
yeah.
One of the very first times. Because I'm 28, so the first season, I remember the tail end of the 06 finals, but I was really engaged starting actually the 67 and 15 season.
Sure.
And so it started off with happiness and a lot of pain, but. I remember shrieking when Luka made the three I remember shrieking when we won the finals. I remember shrieking when Luka made the shot in the bubble to beat the Clippers, to tie the Blazers with 0.4 seconds left.
That was a wild game. That was the game where Mark I ended up getting blocked by Mark Follow because I kept making fun of his broadcast partner.
Yeah, and so I wrote this column just to paraphrase about how my desire to shriek was completely sucked away, in the Luka trade. And I just wanted to read a quick excerpt.
Sure, please.
When Mark Tatum flipped the Spurs card to reveal the Mavericks had won the first overall pick, likely Cooper Flagg, I shrieked. I shrieked the shriek I thought was dead. I immediately FaceTimed one of my friends, my friend from high school in Dallas, a diehard Mavs fan who'd been in the trenches with me through all of this. And we gushed with excitement over the lifeline our team had been thrown. I know what you're thinking. He only went back because they got Cooper Flagg. And I'm here to tell you you're wrong. Potentially. Maybe you're right. I don't know. It's all hard to digest. All I know is that I feel what I feel, and I'm trying to make sense of it all. So, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. Yeah.
I wanted to say to you and anybody else that is still hooked into this team because Flagg really got them re-engaged. You watch because of players.
Yeah.
Yes, the uniform matters, but they're, fandom before free agency, you had guys for life. It's harder to do now.
Yeah.
But there's a reason that Kings fans always like when you find you find a random Kings fan out in the wild, they feel so sad because they don't have any attachment to anything. They're just I appreciate their fandom, but you're watching because you feel a connection with someone. And Flagg has sort of sped run that for the Mavericks. Like, he scored 49 points. He was 4 away from passing Dirk Nowitzki's high score in 21 years. Like, the shit like this, it hooks you and it keeps you going. And that's what you're here for. It's very hard to watch. Like, you know, we have so many options now. Like, I kind of lose my mind because I love video games and I love serialized television. And during basketball season, I have a bitch of a time doing any of this stuff just because there's so much. Like, I'm watching basketball all the time. You have, like, you know, 25 years ago, we didn't have the options. You know, you go down and watch Dateline with your mom at 9 o'clock on a Thursday night. Like, this is like, or you go get on AOL Instant Messenger. Like, it's just not this. It's different now. You have 1,000 things that could be occupying your time. And the fact that the Mavericks were taken from you in a certain way with Luka and then given back to you, and you sort of had the opportunity to say, okay, I'm choosing to do this, I think really speaks to what the quality of basketball and Flagg and all that stuff looks like. I just think it's a good deal.
Yeah, you know, that's like really the moment for me. Like, I mean, obviously, like I went crazy when the Mavs won the lottery, but it was still very conflicting. And even the start of this year, the start Luka got off to, and he's still been great. But like when the Lakers came out scorching and Luka was like that, it almost like re-damaged me. Like, saying, like, oh my God, like I don't care how good Cooper is. But it was the December 23rd game against the Nuggets when the Mavs won by a point. That was like one of the first times this year that I had like been scoreboard watching and then turned on the game and watched the Mavs win. And like just like emotionally felt something watching the Mavs that I don't think I had felt since the Pistons game before the trade. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have like you know, the main reason I wanted to tune in is like I've been trying to reacclimate myself like with the situation. I knew like coming into the season we wanted to tank. I knew our cap situation wasn't great. Just listening to you earlier talking to guys, it sounds like moving players is the right thing. But whether it's because the contracts are inflexible or we have like the GM by committee, it doesn't sound like anything's going to get done is what you're saying. But like that's untenable. Can you just like is that basically the gist? Like we're kind of just...
That's how I feel. But also the fact that there's still plenty of time. Things got to get moving. There's nothing like urgency to force things. So maybe things come to fruition, but if they don't, we're going to have, you know, the owner in a situation where he doesn't want to look stupid. And what he doesn't understand, and I don't think there's any real impetus to push this upon him, is that is a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
By worrying about looking stupid, you fucking look stupid. And it's just, the Luka thing is done and gone with, and he has to find a way to get past this. Cause you got to press on. And, you know, the AD thing was dead weight. And I'm sorry. There's a couple of friends of mine in the media that I feel voice what the owners are telling them. And because these guys are largely impartial, these ownership people need to hear, and GMs, they need to hear that, like, you just got to get over this and start trying stuff. Like, I don't know. We'll see. I'm getting a little mad about something that hasn't even come to pass yet.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
But it kind of feels inevitable. It sounds like, right? Like it feels like more like, I mean, even with the Stein report, Mavs probably aren't going to make trades. Like, I don't know. It just feels like nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll see. A lot of time for that to turn around. I mean, I as much as I value what Stein is literally getting reported to what he said, but he'll also come out and tell you that when he was covering Donnie Nelson regularly, Donnie Nelson once said to him, if my lips are moving, I'm not telling the truth. And so it's like, that's what the tricky part about all this is you have to sort of discern beyond what people are saying and read into what makes sense. So all it takes is one GM to get things going.
Yeah. Last question. I thought I read somewhere maybe the Thunder are looking for big help. Are they? Is that?
I don't remember. I kind of don't pay attention to trade stuff because it ends up eating a significant portion of my day if I do. Okay. You know what I mean? It's kind of going down that path.
But there's like no world where we can get our swap back from the 2028 swap back. Do you think there's? And let me ask you this: like, is there a player on our roster you would trade to get that swap back, or like? Because
I would trade anybody. I am okay. Like, I find that the pick retention and pick value have been my things since like the 2013 season. And
Yeah.
the Mavericks just never came around to that point of view because they had Dirk and they were always building for the moment. So I'm probably not the best person to ask there, but I just don't see how though either, because the Thunder are in kind of a tricky financial situation themselves where they're just kind of at an escalator where they're going to go up, up, up. So
Sure. Anyway, thanks, Kirk. Really
yeah, sure.
appreciate
Thanks
it.
for hanging out.
Yeah, good to see you.
All right. Good times. See you guys Tuesday, maybe before if there's a trade. Everyone be good. Thanks for hanging out. Go Mavs.